Hello and welcome to our presentation. My name is Crystal. I am a full-time student at Georgian College in the Gas Technician program. I am joined today by two fellow Georgian students. I will let them introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emmanuel IGBOKE. I'm a full-time student at Georgian College in nursing program.
Hi guys, I am Pujan Patel and I am currently enrolled in automotive business course in Georgian College.
This presentation is for our Introduction to Queer Theory course. For this presentation, the three of us had to collaborate as a group and choose a queer influencer that not only related to the course material, but who also advocated for LGBTQ2+ rights. We felt the influencer that best fit this description for us was Audre Lorde. This presentation will touch on the reasons why we chose Audre, her bio, and her work. It is our honor to deliver this presentation to you all. We hope you enjoy what we have put together for you. We will start our presentation off with the key points as why we felt Audre was the right choice as our influencer. When we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed, but when we are silent, we are still afraid, so it is better to speak. This quote from Audre Lorde fits in with what queer theory and intersectionality both have in common. They give a voice to communities and individuals that otherwise go unseen and unheard due to their overlapping identities. This key element is why we chose Audre Lorde as our influencer. Audre was a poet, a teacher, a writer, and a fierce activist. Audre's words and lived experiences gave a powerful voice to the LGBTQ+ communities, women's rights, and other marginalized groups. Audre was one of many who paved the way for what we now know as intersectionality. She put the experiences and voices of marginalized communities at the heart of her work. This challenged individuals to confront their own identities and biases. She urged people from all walks of life to work together towards a society where everyone, regardless of their identity, has a voice. In our course, we touched on definitions of sex, sexuality, and gender. We learned about queer theory and how it works to dismantle the traditional roles of gender, class, race, sexuality, and beyond. We also learned how intersectionality brings to light that a person's identity can often overlap and create multiple challenges. Audre, more than most, understood these theories by just being who she was unapologetically. Audre challenged heteronormative beliefs and did not fit the mold society had set out for a woman of color. This made finding a place in a single community difficult, sparking a lot of Audre's activism and poetry. Audre lived her life celebrating differences, and she encouraged others to do the same. Even when faced with a breast cancer diagnosis, she did not sit quietly with her illness. Audre chronicled her battle to help shatter the silence surrounding breast cancer. She used her personal experiences surviving cancer to give other women facing the same journey strength and visibility. Sadly, Audre Lorde's cancer returned, and in 1992 she passed away. But her poems and activisms continued to influence those who knew her and inspired new generations to use their voice to make change all around the world. In conclusion, Audre Lorde's connection to our course material is evident in her life's work. I will now introduce IFEANYI, who will go through Audre Lorde's biography.
Thank you, Crystal. I'm excited to talk about the life of Audre Lorde, who was an incredible force in both feminist and LGBTQ plus movements. Audre Lorde was born on February 18, 1934 in New York City to Caribbean immigrant parents. Growing up as a Black lesbian woman, she faced discrimination on multiple levels, but she turned those challenges into fuel for her activism and writing. Audrey didn't fit neatly into any one category. She embraced her intersection and used them to speak out on issues that really matters. One of her most impactful works is Outsider, a collection of essays where she talks about identity and oppression and her own life experiences. In this book, she invites readers to look beyond just one form of inequality and think about how things like race, gender, and sexuality are all connected. It is still an essential read today for anyone interested in feminist or queer studies, showing that her ideas were ahead of her time. Another powerful piece by Audrey is The Cancer Journals, where she openly talks about her experience with breast cancer. Back then, it wasn't common to speak so openly about illness, but Audrey saw it as a way to break the silence and give strength to women going through similar journeys. She wanted them to feel seen and validated, especially in a world that often ignored this kind of struggles. Audrey's poetry is just as powerful. In works like A Litany for Survivors, she captures themes of fear, resilience, and finding strength in vulnerability. Her poem speaks to those who feel overlooked or silenced, offering them a sense of belonging. Through her words, she gave marginalized voices a platform, which is one of the main reasons we chose her as our queer influencer. Audrey didn't stop at writing. She was deeply involved in activism, especially within feminist spaces. She called out white feminist groups for ignoring the voices of women of color and argued that true progress could only happen when all women were included. In the LGBTQ plus community, she pushed for an understanding of queerness inclusive of all races and backgrounds. Even though she passed away in 1992, her impact is still felt today. Her work inspires people to challenge social norms and embrace their unique identities. In conclusion, Audrey's life and work reminds us that change happens when we confront the difficult truths about society. She showed us that our differences can be our strengths and that's something we can all carry forward. Thank you, and I will be handing it over to Pujan to talk more about her legacy.
Thank you, Fanny. In the 1950s, being a black lesbian came with many challenges. Audre Lorde faced discrimination on many levels, but instead of staying silent, she used these experiences to drive her activism. She took a stand against racism, sexism, and homophobia and used her voice to highlight the injustice faced by people like her. Her work still inspired us to be true to ourselves and reminds us that embracing our unique identities can be a powerful way to bring our change. Now I am going to present a small interview video on how Audre Lorde on being a black lesbian in 1950s.
Men I ran with, we knew we were outsiders. We knew we were outside the pale. We lived in the village. We were outsiders. We were dykes, right? A lot of us were artists. We hated typing, right? We didn't want straight jobs. Whatever we did, we were at the fringe. Now, this, of course, was the 50s. It was like the gay girls' version of the beatniks. You have to remember that the lesbian gay girls, because that's what we were called, the gay girls population was a reflection of what else was going on, right, around us. And that was the era of let's pretend this is the best of all possible worlds. This is exactly what we choose, right? And this is it. So like nobody talked about racism.
Right. So if something happened to me in a bar, I couldn't count on anybody standing up and covering my back. A white lesbian would not stand up to cover my back. They may say, personally, oh, isn't that too bad it happened to you? But not, hey, this shouldn't happen, period.
You need to begin with a movement, which is what Black Power and the Civil Rights Movement was. Then, immediately within it, you are going to get those people whose differences are not being articulated, which is, right, us. So then there is immediately another step.
Now, to wrap up, Audre Lorde's life and work reminds us how important it is to accept who we are and to speak up. Through her poems, her activism, and her bravery, she helped us to understand the idea of intersectionality even before it was widely known. Lord's legacy teaches that how real challenges happen when we listen to and support people whose voices are often ignored. By celebrating our differences, we can build a more fair and welcoming society. We hope this presentation has shown how Lord's work connects with with what we have learned in this course and continues to inspire movement for fairness and acceptance today. Thank you for listening, and we encourage you to learn more about her work as her messages of strength, honesty, and courage are still very important. Thank you so much. We hope you all enjoy our presentation and learn about Audre Lorde.